1, 2, 3.
Due, prova.
3, pronto.
On the pass, chef.
Tavolo, chef.
Hello and welcome to Food for Thought, a podcast that explores the wondrous world of food, culture and innovation. We'll take a deep dive into the stories and amazing people behind the food we eat. This is Food for Thought. Today we're joined by Daniel Leuzzi and Tom Giurioli on the Food for Thought podcast. How's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. Daniel and Tom are the co-owners of the bustling Windsor pizza joint Freddy's Pizza. Based out of the Windsor end of Chapel, Freddy's wood-fired pizza, snacks and bevs have quickly garnered the attention of the likes of Broadsheet, Australian Good Food Guide, through their unique take on Italian cuisine. Dan and Tom, welcome to the Food for Thought podcast.
Thank you, Miles.
Thank you.
How are you on this Wednesday morning? I was going to go for the Italian version of Wednesday morning.
I was backing you in, mate.
I don't have the palate. Yeah, I'm working on it though.
I was backing you in after you pronounced that last name so accurate.
Really?
Yeah, I was feeling it.
I think you did. I feel like you're just being nuts.
Even with mine.
It's really hard for me to not go Leuzzi.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, and throw this one up and yeah. But
thanks for having us.
welcome. How you guys going?
Good, I guess.
Good. We're balls deep in a lot, but we're good.
Yeah. And you haven't had much sleep. You've been on the grind set.
I slept well last night.
Yeah.
I did actually. I slept well too.
Tom,
Okay, yeah, I actually slept quite well as well. So.
But
Yeah.
well,
thanks for asking.
Yeah. False alarm.
Is everyone okay?
Yeah. Can you start by telling us a bit about yourselves, like I guess like your background as people leading up to Freddy's and Tommy's, and how we've arrived here, if you will.
Yeah. I'll go first, I suppose.
Please.
go first.
I'm
The bird wants to go first, I reckon.
Go for it. I love it. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
I am front of house background. Always worked in sort of hospo jobs. I worked at my first Italian restaurant that I ever worked at when I was 17. Fell in love with it straight away. Thought this is everything that I've ever wanted. School was out, hospital was in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think from that sort of starting when I was about 17, 18, I was like, oh shit, I can see a future in this. My family ran a business for a long time in retail for a very long time. So I kind of always wanted to be part of owning a restaurant or owning a business in general. Met Tom through the restaurant. He had a lot of friends that worked there. Tom was a chef elsewhere, sponsored elsewhere at a restaurant. We became mates.
Yeah.
And the relationship kind of took off from there.
Yeah, that's like really interesting to know at a young age at school that like that's the sort of direction that you want to pursue. Like, were you always surrounded by good food, like family sort of lunches and dinners and that sort of thing? What do you think spurred on your love for that industry and food and hospitality at such a young age to just like commit and go?
Yep, definitely family. Very fortunate to have dad's side being Italian and mum's side being Egyptian. So I grew up with some fucking amazing food. Yeah. Like some really
meals coming through.
Can I swear,
there.
by the way? Can we swear?
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, you can say fucking.
It was fucking grouse.
Yeah,
like just quality. There's an abundance of food, but quality food and quality time with family. I think that was the combo. It was always a big spread table and everyone yelling and screaming and reaching over and grabbing stuff and people bringing dishes and then everyone competing on falafel day at mum's house, at my auntie's house and things like that. So it was everything revolved around food, which I was very fortunate to have that Egyptian and Italian side because they're both such great cuisines. Yeah.
That's awesome. And Tom, what about yourself?
So my background is backlogs, and I probably did my first experience in a restaurant when I was 14. I was working in the kitchen, and my family back then had a couple of restaurants in Rome, and then they always opened and closed restaurants around Italy as well, and sometimes not only in Italy, even other parts of the world, like in Greece, in Tunisia. Yeah. So I've always worked in a restaurant. Basically, I was born into it pretty much. And, I came to Australia in 2010 when I was 18, just before I turned 19, and and obviously, you know, I kept doing what I knew how to do, and I worked my way through, and then I got sponsored eventually. And when I first arrived, after a few months I met Dan. He was working in this restaurant called La Lucciola on Chapel Street, which is still there after how many years then?
Nearly 40. Yeah. Same owners, same family, yeah.
And
so it's just like a totally chance encounter there.
And another funny thing is that we never worked together before we opened the restaurant.
No.
So it was like we knew each other. And,
your partner at the time, I worked with her pretty closely, so I always knew kind of what kind of worker Tom was, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
And then we stayed friends. And,
and what spurred on the move from Rome to Australia, to Melbourne?
So initially, like, I was studying piloting school back in Rome, and when I first got here, I was actually doing the school in Moorabbin to become a pilot, basically. But then that didn't happen because it was too many things, so it's a bit too expensive.
So you made the very obvious usual jump from aviation to hospitality.
Yeah, well, like hospitality was something that I always knew. Like I was born into it basically, and
so you're setting the skies up there, I guess.
All the Italians I worked with, majority of the Italians I worked with at that restaurant were all starting to be pilots at Moorabbin Airport.
Wow,
I don't know why.
Was there a connection there?
There was
not with the restaurant, just with the people, with the one. I think years before I started, the one pilot started there, and then it just when people come in, it's just word of mouth. Or you can work at this restaurant. It's a Italian restaurant. Yeah.
So were you were out there clocking up hours training as a pilot?
Yes, I did probably for I'd say a good 6 months. Like I was really into it, and then kind of slowed down, and then I got out of the that industry within 1 year. Because it was a bit too much, and then obviously I needed to work, and I was here, and like I went to look for a job in hospitality because it was what I knew how to do, and then from there I kept staying, and in a couple of years I eventually found my sponsorship and making pizzas and cooking in the kitchen, and it took me about 3 years from there to become a permanent resident, and then started traveling a little bit, going back to Europe, back and forth, doing season here, season over there, and in the meantime, Dan and I would keep in touch. We always had this idea of opening a place, a pizza, something like the. It was always your dream, like to do. I remember we had a conversation once, like years back, and just randomly one day I come up with this and say, Danny, do you remember when we spoke about doing a pizza shop? We were like 19, 20, we were just. And then happened, and it was just something that I would have never expected.
Yeah. So how do you go about? You've hatched this plot over many years, and then you arrive at the point where you're like, let's actually do this. Like, what's the first port of call there? You start looking at commercial spaces. You start also like somewhere along the line, you obviously had the discussion of brand. Like the brand's really awesome. Like Freddy's type, the photography.
For me, it's a long story, but it's not long. I had 2 different business partners over a period that fell through.
Yep.
Great friends of mine still.
Yep.
Both heavily involved in the industry.
Yeah, in terms of like trying to get
in terms of it was Freddy's. I'm like, I want to call it Freddy's. This is what I want to do. Here's the concept.
Yeah.
One fell through, and then a year later, the other one fell through. I was like, okay, that's just the way it is. And then I was in my head going to go about it solo, and then I found a lease in North Melbourne. And I was just breaking Tom's balls because Tom was in Italy, and I was just like voice notes, emails, questions.
Oh, so you've gone back to Rome at this point?
He was. Well, you're doing 6 and 6.
I was doing like
seasonal,
probably 5 months.
Oh,
in Europe.
After his PR came through, he's like, I'm going back to Italy for summer. I was like,
I got like 4 years of summer, the best.
So obviously,
that's wicked.
I know, dream.
That's bellissimo.
That is bellissimo.
Yeah.
It was always I was front of house, and I needed these questions answered of how to set up a kitchen, how to set up a pizza oven space, like wood fire oven, especially.
I feel that's the type of thing when you actually get to it, you're like, this is pretty fucking hard.
I'm so far out of my depth. And all my mates were like, just do it yourself. Just do it. And I was like, fuck no. There's a reason why a lot of small businesses go bankrupt in their first year because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I knew what I couldn't do, and I'm like, I need to fill that hole. So I was just asking Tom question, voice notes, and then I found this space. I go, look, I've got this space.
And you're just behind the scenes, you're just clocking all this pivotal info. Before you open doors.
Found this space. I said, Tom, I've got this space. I want to make an offer. He's like, I was like, do you want to come work for me? Because I knew he was coming back to Melbourne eventually. I'm like, do you want to come work for here as like the head chef? And he was kind of like, not really. And I was like, oh, why? He's like, I'd rather just own my own place as well.
Yeah.
I said,
and
well,
he's
let's...
had 40 summers in a row. He's probably
Correct,
due
he's ready for a winter. That beautiful tan skin of his. White telling going around. He needed to come back home.
Yeah.
And I said, look, let's just do this together. And he's like, all right, sweet, I'll see you next week. And we literally, that was it. Like, that was the conversation of let's do this together.
Yeah.
We rocked up. You rocked up a week later, like a week before grand final, like 2018.
Yeah, a week before the grand final.
And we rocked up to the space in North Melbourne. I'll never forget it. And as I rock up there, he's already got like a fucking measuring tape in his hand. And I'm like, hey man, I haven't seen him in like 2 years. And he just throws me this measuring tape, like catch that, measure that, stand there. I'm like, all right, I found my guy. We always had the relationship, and now it's like this is the apex of this one. This is it.
And what do you think it is about the relationship that works so well? Like there was discussing before, a bit of the yin and yang. You've got the sort of
very important.
Yeah.
What he does, I can't do. What I do, he doesn't want to do. Same, you know.
It's always worked well. You know, also, it's based on respect, basically. Like we started from nothing, and you know, we both know what we've been doing and what we've done from day one. So we respect that a lot, and I think that's the main important thing. You know, like
for me, it's there's honesty in the conversations. There are the robust conversations we can have, and then a minute later we're pissing ourselves laughing at something like that. So there's an openness of like it's almost brotherly, but it's not, and it's friendly, but it's not, and it's business partner. And it's very, very all encompassing. But for me, at the end of service, when we were working service a lot together in the early days, you just finish work and all your staff would be around talking, and you kind of just look at each other, and you wouldn't have to say anything because you both understood what you just what your whole day or whole week has gone through to get to that point. And the thought of doing that without someone, and like as I said to you before, thinking about doing this restaurant alone is just like foreign, because I would not want to not share this experience with anyone, especially with someone like Tom. So it's a really, really, really solid partnership in terms of how it works, or the end result and the actual process.
You've got a carjacking going on outside.
It's Collingwood, man.
That's cool. Whatever. Can you tell us a little bit about the that you've got a kitchen residency at Young Hearts? Can you walk us through that process a little bit, doing things like that, going a little bit above and beyond and outside? You think outside the box well.
I believe the opportunities present themselves through our organic approach. For the first chunk of our career owning Freddy's, we never really did any paid marketing or reached out and did anything over the top. We always, I ran the Instagram myself, I still do. There was always a word of mouth attitude and aspect about it, and these opportunities kind of naturally approached us.
Yes. Young
Hearts was a big one. I've had a relationship with those guys for years. I used to work with the boys.
Like geographically, you've got obviously like a great rapport with businesses around
the community. There's cafe, the barbershop, the gym, all the cafes around us, all the restaurants around us. I think Windsor's
everyone bloody loves you.
Yeah, Windsor's great. It's very welcoming and very embracing.
Yeah, great community.
If you give, you'll get back. I dare, like Chapel Street's, it's got its issues. Not issues, but it's got its craziness, and it's Saturday nights fucking gross. It can be gross on a Saturday night. But, throughout the week, I love, the families coming in, and it's very, very, very community based, which we love. Yeah.
Have you ever gone to Revolver then gone straight to work?
Maybe 1-6.
Not Revs.
Revs, no. Actually,
no, I've done a couple.
Definitely we're going out.
There's been some tough Sundays, man. There's been some tough Sundays where you're like, wow,
doubles.
I really should. There was moments when we were doing doubles, and I just hadn't slept, and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I running a restaurant?
I used to live down that way, and sometimes I would just think, no one around here sleeps.
Some
nights
doesn't
stop. It's
crazy. Go through the weekend
But
I saw that guy yesterday.
Only Tuesday, Wednesdays. The days.
What we love, I suppose, what's great is a lot of the staff from 161, from Electric, that they come into us as like a little recharge. Bit of nourishment, and then they go off and have to work and look after these crazy people, which is great.
And also that very clientele, which leads me to my next question of Tommy's Booze. They'd love you with this new alcohol venture. This. We hope so. bespoke.
If you're at
delicious.
Revolver,
yeah.
please drink up.
Yeah, please.
Don't go home.
Yeah. don't go missing.
Sleep's overrated.
Yeah.
We get Tommy's to you, don't worry.
Yeah. How did Tommy's come about, and what was the inspiration?
I'll let Tommy take that one.
Basically, lockdown. Actually, the first batch was just before lockdown, I'd say.
2020.
2019, maybe end of 2019.
End of 2019.
Like the really first batch was just a small batch. I had a bit of alcohol and mixed it with some lemons. And then during lockdown, this friend of ours comes in with a
Shout out to D.
Yeah, with a big, like a huge bag of lemons,
like
very
a
heavy.
fucking big
bag of lemons. So like, you know,
he's got a tree the size of
there was branches sticking out of it, and it was clearly from her granddad's house.
And I was like, you know, I didn't have much to do, to be honest. Like the first lockdown was very quiet.
So boring.
It was just then and I in the restaurant.
Yeah,
friend
of ours, Federico. It was.
And that's it.
Fucking boring.
Some days
same game,
like 10 pizzas, you know, nothing. So I need to do something with my time.
We were just gambling every night. So bad.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's make more limoncello. Let's make some, and let's make this something like let's make a batch that we can use also for people, the customers. They come and wait for a takeaway pizza.
And this is your debut limoncello batch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was probably the first like.
We just kept it on the bar on the corner because obviously there's no customers besides coming in for takeaway pickups.
Yeah.
So we just made a little display.
We were doing like shots away to people that were waiting for pizza.
Yeah.
Things like that.
It was good, and then so firstly it started as a little like fun, just giving people.
Even just for ourselves, it was like. I remember we would drink a lot of it, and we would just
so much of it.
Yeah.
And then you've sort of like, it's like its own brand.
Yeah, and then basically like it started to like people really enjoyed it, and that's probably what gave us the idea of, okay, let's make this up, like let's give a brand to this, you know, let's bring this to people and put it out there. And also restaurants, some of the restaurants that we know, they try the product and they love this straight away and they wanted to have it in the restaurant. So we were like, okay, how do we make this now?
Kind of happened like the brand happened before the brand actually existed. So the product itself kind of sold itself. Because of the quality. Like they were just clean skin bottles. No label, nothing. Very illegal. But the ATO were very flexible at that time because of COVID. Like I remember they said like they were just lax because of lockdowns.
Yeah.
I think the first time we thought, like the first moment I thought, shit, there's something here, was when one of our customers' friends who worked at a bar in the city was like, can I grab 6 bottles and use it on our bar, on our menu? And I was like, oh shit, okay. Fuck.
Did you have 6 bottles?
Yeah. We had Tom
cranking it out.
Tom was again like, you know, had things
production,
to do.
No problem.
Tom,
how many bottles do you need? 1 million, no worries.
I'm surprised Tom sat still for this long so far. Like, he's not someone that sits still.
Yeah.
So that was easy.
Yeah.
And then from that first sort of order, we started thinking like, shit, all right, we've got to put a brand. So I called my cousin straight away and was like, Mills, you know the product, we've spoken about it, but now it's time for us to take it to the next step. And then after that we went down all the legalities and that path, and that was a really big learning curve for me, man. Just talking liquor licensing and
like it was something we never, we had no idea. Like we
were really going, okay, what are
alcohol?
Yeah, what are the legalities? What are the parameters? What's the process?
Mandatories on
everything.
It was everything. It is very challenging.
We were complete babies in the industry, and still running a restaurant at the same time. So it was an interesting.
Yeah, I feel anxious thinking about it. Yeah.
Sleep's important.
Yeah. And like with the actual taste of the limoncello, like what's the process there, and how do you get that balance? Like I feel like it's a very delicate. It'd be very difficult for it to not be sickly. It would be very difficult for it to not be unbalanced. Like what's the process there?
So the way we make it, and it's basically it's very easy. It's 4 ingredients basically. You need natural spirit, you need lemon peel, water and sugar. So it takes time. So the difference with an homemade limoncello to the one that you find on a shelf, in a supermarket, is that obviously for mass production, people tend not to use lemons anymore. They use like essence or oils and stuff like that to
like
replicate to replicate the flavor. But it changes the product. Like that's why a homemade limoncello always tastes better. And the process is infusion. Like you have to infuse the lemon rind in the alcohol for at least 4 to 5 weeks. And so the alcohol absorbs all the oils that are in the rind and the color and everything, and then basically you mix that with water syrup, with the sugar syrup. And you wait for a couple of weeks, keep that in the dark, and then just bottle that up. It's not hard; it just takes time.
And peels.
And peel. Like
everyone's like, oh, it's all lemon juice, and it's like, no.
There is no lemon juice. Like there is zero lemon juice. Like it's just lemon. Yeah, the way we do it.
There's just definitely a beauty in the sort of like almost archaic process of its simplicity, but it's like respect to like time and zest and. It's
Italian cooking. Essentially. It is Italian. It's just Italians cooking with a liquid as opposed to food.
And that's where the challenge also is coming, because to replicate the product like an homemade product and have that on shelf eventually, or even in restaurants and stuff, like it requires a lot of work, because you need to peel a lot of lemons. Basically, that's the most important part. And but it's been great so far. You
just started off like sitting there like peeling.
Yes, basically yes.
He was on
non-stop. I'm well. Like the good thing.
Lucky you're an industrious mind.
The good thing about lemon peel,
the wizard.
That's what I've said.
It's made to be doing it.
And then because it wasn't enough doing the lemon, so we started doing mandarin, which was.
I reckon mandarin was second. I reckon there was maybe.
No, mandarin. I think.
Lime.
No, we tried different ones.
Tom's gone crazy with in a good way with mixing up other flavors since.
The
two that have really stuck out were the mandarin and the raspberry. So mandarin, obviously, similar vein of peel, like similar to the lemon, and then raspberry's your fresh fruit.
Would I be able to make limoncello? Like what?
Yeah.
Would I?
You just got to get pure alcohol.
Yeah.
You can do vodka.
Oh, you just get like straight ethanol or
usually the one we use is 96.
Your mum came from Italy a couple of years ago and brought some
because I was struggling to find alcohol in Australia, because in Italy it's something you really buy in the supermarket, like you can buy it off the shelf. But here it's like, it's the legalities behind, like natural spirit that are a bit different.
Australian government love taxation.
They
love it.
Italian government, not so much.
I mean, they try, but
with booze, Well, what's the most booze you can buy at the chemist or supermarket?
You can. I don't think there is a limit.
They come in like 20-litre bottles or something? Or
no, the pure alcohol, it comes with a 1 liter bottle.
1 litre?
Yeah, 1 liter. Yeah.
1 litre, yeah.
So, my mom brought over 2 bottles, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 liters. And that was the first small batch that I tried at the shop the first time.
Yeah.
And I tried, what did I try as well? Orange and lime, I think.
Orange, there was lime, there was rock melon, there was feijoa leaf, there was bay leaf, rocket. Blueberry, blackberry, licorice.
Licorice, yes.
So all similar vein of like technique.
Does like all your knowledge come from working in the industry, or did you guys study or something? I feel like you guys have a fairly encyclopedic knowledge.
Study. I did 2 weeks of a Bachelor of Education course.
Sort of expertise.
Just
I mean, things I wouldn't have even considered for like that style of.
Yeah, I think the simplest thing for me anyway, to speak on behalf of Tom, is that with the product like that, all you're doing is swapping a fruit in and out, and then once you just get those balances right, you kind of need obviously a bit of a scientific cook's chef's mind like Tom's got, but the creativity isn't that overstretched or outreached when the process is quite similar. Well, the biggest difference would be licorice to make. No?
Yes, probably. It's actually.
Do you use the root?
No, you use licorice powder.
Which is a powdered root.
That's a really good product. Like one day. One day licorice should be out there.
I just don't. So for me as well, being born and raised in Australia, Tom not. I think what that I've learned is that a lot of Italians kind of grow up with
I was going to say
someone in their family that makes all this shit.
That
And for us, it's like,
just
whoa.
comes part and parcel with having grown up there.
It's like making salami, it's something if you're Italian, 100% you've been doing that. Like
Or sauce day, or salami day,
or whatever,
Yeah.
You're always gonna have someone in your family that makes limoncello.
Feeling very Australian right now.
Well, we all are, and that's something.
yeah.
But it's a good thing to celebrate.
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah,
So we're kind of bringing the Italian culture done in a Melbourne way.
Yeah,
and then given to the public to see how they take it.
And back to like Freddy's with what's the ideation process with like how to make the pizzas, or like how to develop the menu, or what you guys sell is obviously very carefully and perspicaciously chosen to have perspicacity with great insight.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
you studied for sure.
Yeah. What I lack in culinary knowledge.
Yeah,
I've attempted to make up.
Where did you go to school? That was fantastic.
Yeah, nice school. Yeah. Yeah, uniform, socks up, one of them.
Tie.
Yeah, Anglican.
We basically
the menu
we've done
is
all that together. I think.
Yeah,
the process of opening.
I think you know what. We knew how the concept wanted to be in a menu.
Yeah.
Again, front of house, I had this idea of concept of like creativity. I was like, this is what I want to do. I originally didn't want to have any pasta. I was like, let's just do wood-fired pizza, some snacks, some salads, and that's it. Yeah. And dessert. Tom was like, look, the place we found to lease had a kitchen. We're like, well, we got to use the kitchen. Yeah. So I think what I love about, again, the combination of our relationship is I'll always come to him with ideas. I'll be like, hey, why don't we do this? How about that? And he'll be like, well, let's work that out logistically. How's the function going to be? How's it going to work during service? How our staff can handle that? It kind of brings it down into a structured, all right, good. And then I can come away going, okay, I've learnt and I know what we can produce.
And before you kick the doors open, are you like going through like a trial process of like different?
Yes, we did try. Not really.
That's what they are. We're open.
We didn't even. I didn't taste Tom's cooking until after we'd signed a lease.
Right. Okay.
And my parents were like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Like,
you should probably taste.
Yeah, you should probably. Is he a good worker? I'm like, I think so.
It shows your faith in his like traditional Italian knowledge, like. Yeah.
I think it just was faith in everything at that time. It was just the whole apex was just like, this is happening. Yeah. Go along for the ride, like strap in.
Yeah.
When you that gut instinct, when your gut's talking to you like that, I think it's important to listen.
Yeah. And back to also like we were talking about it before, looking at the website, like really impressive brand that sort of it has this sort of irreverence to it, and also this sort of loose by hand sort of thing, which lends itself to the business's sort of ethos, I suppose. Do you think like design in hospitality is really important to help project or appear the way that you guys want?
100%.
Yes.
What was the process there?
Well, very fortunate. Again, my cousin Amelia is a brand designer. So I mean, she same age as me, so her and I were quite close growing up. I've had projects in the past, way before I met Tom, where I was selling like little succulents, and she made me a really cool brand logo for that. I had a plant sale once at my dad's warehouse, and she did this amazing description, drawing and illustrations for that event, posters and stuff. So I always knew me and her always quite got along in terms of I'd give her a concept or a brief and she'd just fucking roll with it. So when Freddy's was the one, I was like, all right, great. And she was like, all right, let me work on it. She gave our Nonna 5 or 6 textures, markers, and then he wrote the word Freddy's maybe 5 or 6 times on a piece of paper.
What a great idea.
And he didn't actually know. And now our pizza boxes are that exact, those 5 or 6 Freddy's, all in different fonts.
I love that.
Yeah. And he had no idea. He's like, all right, cool. And then we showed it to him like this. Actually, he passed just before we had opened, so he'd never really seen. Yeah. But I think anyone that's good in understanding a brand should really, really listen to what the people are about. And being related to her was super easy, so that was like a tick straight away. She knew what I wanted, how I wanted things to convey. And then once she gave us that, it was like, all right, that's it. We picked 1 or 2 out of the Freddy's, and one was
we couldn't pick just one.
Yeah, and then we thought, let's put them all in the pizza boxes. So it gives it that handwritten style ethos is exactly that.
Yeah.
And it is also very representative and reflective of how we feel as people running a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that's the actual text of writing. Like, I'm so glad I asked. What a wonderful interviewer.
You were good.
Yeah.
I was really hoping you asked. Like,
Thank God you asked.
Yeah, you can get a poor review if you didn't.
Yeah.
And then she's done, her and her business partner, Bonnie,
Yep.
who are Double Slice, who are both fucking amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
They've done all our Tommy's stuff, continued along the lines of all our Freddy's revamp and redesign.
Yeah.
So you ask how important it is. I think it's paramount. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think so too. And then also, it of course informs the actual space, the signage, the colours, the upholstery. Was that all brought into consideration as well before kicking doors?
No, not really, not much at the start.
No, I remember you approached me with like a terracotta tile, some brass or copper, and a brick. And you're like, that's the kind of vibe I want. It was like very Italian kind of trattoria.
Yeah.
And that was like our brief of colour. Like that's kind of what we want to go for in our interior design. And we did everything ourselves.
Yeah,
we painted everything. If there was something that needed to be knocked down, we did it. It was very hands on. We started this thing quite ghetto.
Yeah. Sweet.
There was no
very legal.
other way to start.
Yeah, we just like, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah.
So, but the interior design aspect was very, very simple. We didn't want to invest a lot of money in that because we thought hospitality is service experience. For first and foremost. I think.
He says that was very simple, but I still remember one day I woke up to work and I painted all this wall in red, and it was
in the courtyard. I was like, why? It's like a 10 meter long wall in our courtyard. And I'm like, why did you paint it all red?
What happened? I said, don't worry, then it's gonna get darker.
Why?
It's gonna get
It was so fucking bright, man. I was like, why did you do that?
That was the actual color.
And he's like, I was up too late. I had a bottle of Montenegro.
Literally.
Yeah, man, that was hectic.
So
It's still there,
iconic.
We got used to it.
Yeah. And so, how long did you have the site before opening for?
What was 2 months?
2.5 months.
Yeah, it's not that long.
2. Yeah, it was
2 months.
It was
a couple of days.
Existing restaurant.
Yeah.
Which was very, very handy. So we didn't have to build a lot of things. We had redid our bar and redid the courtyard.
Yeah.
Kitchen, spruce up, built a wood fire oven in there, obviously.
Yeah.
Change your plates, change your tables, you paint the place. Your light box got changed. It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
If we had to sort of build, toilets, plumbing, kitchen, wiring, it would.
It would take longer.
Yeah, if you just start in a warehouse or something. It's hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you start from shell, it's
but there's benefits of it in the long run. You get the space you want. You get I love that place, but it's a tight little squeeze to squeeze what you want out of it, really.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear if money was no object, nor government or council red tape, for example, what would be your dream hospitality venture?
Warehouse.
Yeah.
I went to a restaurant in Brooklyn a few years ago called Roberta's, an Italian pizzeria.
Oh, yes.
You been before?
Yeah, no, but I've heard about it. I think someone else mentioned that actually.
Roberta's is like your pinnacle of kind of wood fire pizzeria kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Like Bushwick, I think. That place started a suburb really.
Yeah.
And it's just this big open warehouse, super simple, grungy but cool and refined.
Yeah.
But open space for me, seeing this big full wood fire oven in there. Ideally for me, like a wood fire oven in the center.
Yeah,
that'd be sick. And then the whole place kind of revolves around it.
Actually, a small distillery on the side.
Yeah. Like a double warehouse.
Yeah,
would be
enough space to do both.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think if you had that sort of situation, you would dabble in different spirits and different foods and stuff like that?
Spirits, definitely.
Does gin intrigue you or?
Nah. Oh, in that sense. I don't, for me, no, because there's so much gin.
Yeah.
It intrigues me, but it's
Melbourne's,
I don't know if it's just something that
gin's great, but there's so many.
Yeah. What about an Italian, Galliano or?
Maybe a vermouth.
Ooh,
I'd like to do,
vermouth. That's back on the upper here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like a red vermouth would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Or an Aperol or Campari.
Grappa,
Grappa,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a few good Australian companies doing some nice stuff in terms of the Italian twist on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we got to remember we're only very early days in this sort of liqueur bit. So there could be so much to change.
Yeah.
What's to come?
Well, what does the future hold?
So much excise to pay.
Yeah.
And they're just going to raise it as well. Beer just went up today.
Yeah.
I would love to consolidate it as a part of the community, an institution type venue.
Yeah.
I don't really at this point see a massive desire to expand and go big with it.
Yeah.
I think small, manage it, keep the quality up, keep the vibes high.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I see for the next couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
Following that, we'll see.
Like multiple sites or?
Potentially. I think we've seen what it takes for a place to be successful quite quickly. You know,
Yep.
we've seen that you need someone looking after the front of house. You need someone looking after back of house. You need those two people to be able to turn their backs on each other and go, I trust what they're doing. So whenever I was looking after a table, I was never worrying about what my kitchen were doing because I knew Tom was there looking after and cracking whips. Tom had that energy because he knew that when he was cracking whips, he didn't have to worry about how that table was being looked after because he knew I was looking after them. So that simple, very, very simple approach allowed us to lift it up quite quickly to a level. So if we'll go and do something else, that means that we need someone else to be us.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
So then we can oversee it and go, all right, cool.
Totally.
And not worrying about leaving Freddy's and Chapel Street behind. You know, we don't want to not worry about that place. It's always going to be, for me, my baby.
If it wasn't for Freddy's, like Tommy's wouldn't exist.
Yeah. So you have to give respect to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And the future for Tommy's?
The future for Tommy's, well, I'd say eventually we get a bigger space and we start produce ourselves.
Yeah. And do you guys have, places in Melbourne that inspire and influence your ideas?
For me, Melbourne, like the one that inspires or keeps that I take note of would be Andrew McConnell. Very different to what we do. And very, not involved really in booze or pizza at all. But just the way he operates his venues and the way he puts his touches on things. A friend of ours works at Gimlet and was saying that every now and then he'll come in and water all the... Have you been to Gimlet before?
Yeah.
There's like plants all the top. First couple of months he was like on a ladder watering his plants and I was like, fucking love that guy.
Yeah, that's wicked,
And he comes into the shop and he's lovely, comes in with his family, his kids, his wife, and he's just such a genuinely decent person. Without an ego that I see anyway. Everyone that I know that's worked with him is just like, he's a weapon. He's just such a lovely guy. I'm like, fuck yeah, like I respect that so much.
Exactly what you
Not
want.
a dick,
Yeah. What about yourself? Any touch points?
There are like alcohol companies that I look up to, like I said, Four Pillars. What they've done here in Australia, like in Melbourne, it was amazing the way they started and all the journey the last 10 years. Some whiskey companies that I love, and But in terms of limoncello, no, not really. I don't really know, like many. Especially here, it's something that is just starting now.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of cool though, because it means you to some degree, you're pioneering that space.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a bit going on as well. There's a lot of wineries that are getting involved in it now, which is great.
Yeah.
Zonzo's doing it.
Who else is doing it?
What's the name from Adelaide are doing it?
Unicozello's doing it. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So a few.
Which is great. So there's slowly good quality producers are making, from the wine background or farming background are starting to get involved.
I feel like people will be watching you guys very closely.
Did you be on our best behaviour?
Or like,
which is hard for me.
Do you ever see businesses crop up and you're like, they fucking stole that off us?
We fucking screenshot that fucking restaurant every time.
You probably can't say it, right?
There's one restaurant.
I mean, it's like, it's flattering, but you're also like...
You're like, dude, that's our fucking... That's us.
Yeah. That's us.
If you like, But... I remember a few years ago there was a place up for lease a couple of doors down from us, and on the sign on the front from the council it was projected to be potentially a pizzeria with X amount of seats and council deliberation kind of notice board. And customers were like, oh, pizzeria's going in there. I was like, oh yeah. And like, are you worried? I was like, I don't get worried by that.
Yeah.
I think I want that competition.
Yeah, it's
I want to see what people can do. I like the idea of the place next to us being busy. We've got a great Thai restaurant next to us. Whenever they're busy, we're busy. I love that. Yes, it's a pizzeria potentially down the road, but the best will come. Like if you're good, it doesn't matter about anyone else.
Yeah, and if you're ambitious, like it's only got to push you to be.
That's what's actually
you don't get
drives
pushed
you to do better and to do more.
100%. So when these other places open up or pop up with Limoncello, I was like, fuck yeah, let's taste it.
Yeah.
What percentage is it? What are they charging? You know, it's like it's interesting. It's fun.
How does it taste?
Yeah. It's a shit.
Looks great. Tastes terrible.
Look at the colour. I don't want to taste it.
Desert island meal.
Right, I've got a meal.
You can have an entree and you can have a main. Let's say, and you can have a drink.
Day.
You can have a limoncello if you want as well. You've got water to stay alive on the island.
The
Apart from
basics.
that, it's just you there with these two.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
I've thought about this.
Entree as well?
No. I'm going like a meal. I'm going a plate of food.
Love that. Yeah.
And it's very, very, very family. Easily my mum's simplest cook meal. And I actually went mum's last night and she made it, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's chicken schnitzel.
Yeah.
But you got to put parmesan and parsley in the crumb.
Oh yeah.
You can't have just a fucking plain crumb. You got to have cheesy parmesan crumb.
Yum.
Scallop potatoes.
Yep.
So with cream. Green beans with red sauce.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some green leaf salad, and that's it. So I got my potatoes, I got my chicken, I got my green beans.
Extremely balanced as well, because you might be on the island shredding.
Exactly right. I don't want any fucking bread.
Yeah.
I just want to be clean, and I got a bit of cream from the potatoes, green beans, bit of acidity.
Yeah, fuck. If you ate that every day, you'd be in pretty good nick.
I'd be in a lot of it.
Longevity on that island.
I don't know about. I'm thinking about my future.
Yeah. I'd probably say it is a classic, but I really love it, and I could eat that every day, and sometimes I do eat that every day.
I know exactly.
It's a carbonara.
It's
a proper carbonara.
Yeah. There was a period where you did eat that at the shop every day for about a week.
I can eat that every day.
Every time he went for a run, he'd come back. He'd be like, "I need a carbonara." And he'd come back with his like bowl.
Yeah. Kind of knows that his answer's valid because he's already done it.
Do you have what?
Cuisine wise, I went with Vietnamese just because I was like, after 50 years, will I, still be alive if I eat pizza, pasta, burgers, palmies every day? Because my death row meal is probably like a really, really good palmy. But, you only get one of those, then you die, Yeah, but if it's Desert Island one, it's like, you're still going to be interested in 50. It's a tough question. All right, we're going to do a speed round. Texting or talking?
Talking.
Favorite day of the week?
Sunday.
Monday.
Favorite city to be in besides the one you live in?
Rome.
Quick. Paris.
Nickname your parents used to call you?
Danny.
Tommy.
Last song you added to your playlist?
Night Moves, Coloured Emotions. You're not a playlist guy.
No.
I don't even think you have Spotify.
Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Every language in the world.
Favorite holiday?
Italy.
South of France.
How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
Ask someone else.
7 minutes.
5.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
11.
10.
Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is...
Annoying.
What age do you want to retire?
Yesterday.
Nah, never.
No, yeah. Invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Invisibility.
Because you've already got super
Beer or limoncello?
Limoncello. But
and that concludes our speed round.
Beer is good though.
That was awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate your time. And that's the Food for Thought podcast. So, tune in for the upcoming episodes. We'll be posting it to our Mr. social media and online. So keep your onions peeled. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. An absolute pleasure. Onions peeled, I like that. Is that your sign off?
Yeah, that's it.